Good morning, my art-loving friends. It's barely morning. I think it's 10. I've been doing a lot already, but we need to see what is in today's Watercolor Advent Calendar and maybe paint. I'm definitely going to slot out 1 hour today to paint because I have a lot going on, but I really want to get started on the painting. So here it is, day 18. Let's see what's inside. All right, in we go. A sticker. Oh, check that out. That's very fancy. Reminds me of Jenny Granberry. All right, Allosaurus skull. There are a few creatures alive today that rivaled the size of the prehistoric giants that once walked our planet. Allosaurus is one of my favorite dinosaurs, and I said that weird, dinosaurs, and I had a blast painting this skull using perylene green. Ooh, I love perylene green. Skulls make great subjects for value studies. Fancy trying your hand at one? Choose a big one for today's World Watercolor Month prompt, as well as one of your favorite darkly valued colors, and get to it. Today's prompt is immense. All right, I'm just going to set the timer for 1 hour and see how much I get done on the painting for immense, which I also want to mix with a previous prompt called spacious. So 2 in 1 because I missed doing spacious, and this works the same for that. So is that cheating? Probably not. It's fine. So I have not finished this painting of Hanging Lake, and I got this burgundy red ochre dot card yesterday that I haven't used, and it's a Daniel Smith color. So here's my Daniel Smith palette. So I think I'll paint today's prompt immense and spacious with the Daniel Smith colors, and maybe I can use this burgundy red ochre. So I'm going to just put it in there for now. It's going to take me a minute to get, a lot of minutes actually, to get ready to paint the prompt for immense and spacious. And I hate to take this off the block when it's not finished, but this is the size I want to use for the next painting. So off the block it goes into the pile of unfinished paintings for World Watercolor Month, but I am going to finish them all, hopefully by the end of the month. So this is Arches 140 pound 12 by 16 watercolor block cold press, and let's see if we can paint the Redstone Castle. And I'm just going to read you a little bit of the history and what is the Redstone Castle, just so you have some background on what the heck it is I'm painting here. The Redstone Castle, also known as Cleveholm or Osgood Castle, is a mansion south of Redstone, Colorado in the U.S. It is a large timber frame structure built in the early 20th century as the home of John C. Osgood, founder of the Colorado Fuel and Iron Company, in a simplified version of the stick style. In 1971, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places, the first property in Pitkin County to be listed. It was later additionally listed as a contributing property to the Redstone Historic District. The castle was at the south end of the planned company town of Redstone, meant by Osgood to be an improvement over the usual housing and conditions in western mining towns of the late 19th century. Just across the Crystal River were the coke ovens that processed coal mined higher up in the mountains and loaded onto a rail line. Miners and cokers in the town lived in cottages with electricity and running water, considered luxury items at the time. At his mansion, Osgood, at the time one of the country's richest men, entertained guests like Theodore Roosevelt, John D. Rockefeller, and King Leopold of Belgium, who joined him on hunts. The lush interior features European antique furniture and work by Gustav Stickley and Louis Comfort Tiffany. Its design was supposedly based on the ancestral home of Osgood's wife, Alma. Redstone's prosperity ended within a decade after Osgood lost control of the company and he spent less time there. He returned to the property in the late 1920s to die. His wife tried to convert the house into a resort, but the Great Depression made that economically unviable. However, later owners were able to run it as a hotel into the 1990s. A recent owner who tried to refurbish was indicted in a financial fraud scheme, and the Internal Revenue Service sold it to compensate victims in its first ever online auction of seized real property. It was sold again in 2016, and after a renovation, owner Stephen April Carver opened a 10-room boutique hotel in the castle in November 2018. It is also open for daily public tours. The 2006 film The Prestige used the castle as a location. The mansion and its surviving outbuildings are located on 150 acres, and inside the house's 24,000 square feet, that's 2,200 square meters, are divided among 42 rooms. The first floor is dominated by the English-style Great Hall with 18-foot ceilings, 5.5 meters, and a large sandstone fireplace carved with Osgood's lion-based coat of arms and topped by a trophy elk mount. And it goes on to tell you about the Persian carpets and the English oak and mahogany and the dining rooms with Russian Tsarist taste and the library having a Persian theme, things like that. There's gold leaf border, French-styled music parlor, ladies' drawing room, green silk damask walls, frescoed plaster ceilings, Carrara marble fireplaces, and so on. And all the bathrooms have oversized clawfoot porcelain bathtubs and sinks. Each has a fireplace of Italian marble or colored tile paneling. That's very fancy. The outbuildings, several of the original ones still remain. There's gatehouses. It's similar to the main house, but smaller, obviously. Gabled roofs is talking about that. There's a stable and a carriage house that is similar to the main house. Stone foundation, shingled walls, towers, gabled dormers, and so on. Oak walls, very fancy. So it has been something that has been in my life for a long time because I grew up near this area. Ironically, I have only been in the castle once, to my knowledge, to my memory anyway, and I want to go back. So definitely need to put that on the to-do list. Maybe I can do that when my daughter-in-law and son are up from Thornton because they would like to see that too, I'm sure. So it's on the to-do list now. We're definitely going to do that. This is also one of the paintings that I want to do in my Painting the Roaring Fork Valley and Beyond class that I'll be teaching at the college starting in October. So it is great practice for that, and it actually came along really well so far. I am not quite finished with it as of the time of this voiceover, but I'm staring at it and I really, really like it so far, so that's good. Hopefully I can finish it tonight. Probably not, but it's something that I am drawn back to, so I want to finish it. I'm excited to finish it, and that is always a good thing because when you actually want to get back to your painting, that's a bonus. And it was really fun using my Daniel Smith palette again. You can see that that big flat brush from the Lindsay Frugal Crafter Craftimo things is a little too big for the half pans, but I used it for a while anyway. You only saw that in the very beginning of this time lapse, and then I switched to slightly smaller brushes that work better for half pans. But I always feel like, oh, having this big of a selection of paints is hard, and sometimes I don't pull out this palette because I think that, but every time I go to use this palette, it's not hard at all because I have the swatch sheet. And you can see in the time lapse here, I'm holding that swatch sheet in my left hand, and I don't even need it half the time because you do kind of get a feel for your palettes and where your colors are and which colors are next to other colors. And so it's just when I'm going for a new color choice that I really like to reference that palette, or just to double check, like, yeah, that one was the sap green, that's the one I want to use. So having the swatch sheet makes all the difference in the world, and it makes it really easy to use a palette of this size. So I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again because in my opinion, I can't say it enough. Thank you to the person who sent me all these beautiful, wonderful Daniel Smith half pans. I said who it was in the past, but I'm not going to say it again. Just thank you. Really appreciate that. I have added some Daniel Smith colors to this from generous gifts from another one of you. Thank you to you as well. And then one of my students gave me probably, I think, 6 of the paints or so that you're seeing in the very bottom of the palette. They are the shiny ones that are like the iridescent and the duochromes down there at the very bottom. And ironically, as of the time of this voiceover, I did not use the burgundy red ochre. That's what that's called, right? I think. I haven't used that yet in the painting, but it might be a perfect color for the lower brick part of the castle, so it might be perfect for that. It is almost 2 p.m., so this is as far as I'm getting on this video. I may work on it more today, but not for the video that you're seeing. So, yeah. Happy July 18th, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.